ahead and get started. People will probably filter in late as the snow and everything crazy goes on. But in any case, we'll get started. We got a bunch online as well. So we should have a fun meeting here. All right. If my clicker will work, which it will not. There we go. So first off, right under your foot now. So first off, new agents to the brokerage. Since our last meeting, we've got quite a few. So we welcome all these guys. I don't think any of them are in-house today, but we've got quite a few. And the ones with asterisks have all been referred by other Fathom agents. So just a reminder that referral helps you towards your cap for life and you're free for life. So 4 agents and you're capped for life. You're paying that capped amount, currently $150 for all transactions. And if you get 8 at any point in time, then you're free for life and you pay no fees for any transaction that you do, which is pretty freaking amazing. So if you can ever get to that point, there would be no reason for you to ever move brokerages again because you're totally free.
Is that since we've come into Fathom, like total, or did
no, started November 1, I believe.
So from November 1 on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And agents that you refer in order to count towards it have to have 2 referrals in the last, 2 transactions in the last 12 months. So if they're brand new agents, those don't count. Okay, needs and wants. We always start with this. And so if you've got a listing coming up, if you've got a new listing, or if you've got a listing that needs attention, if you've got buyers that have wants, anything that you want to bring up, happy to do that at this point. Who's got something?
Still working on the 2 listings. They are, the people are getting closer. So we've talked them off a little bit of a ledge of the fall of the market and what they feel, that they don't feel that they're going to get out of their home. And I'm like, well, I think it's as good a time right now to buy as ever. And it's still going to be really close to $1 million listing. 3/4 of an acre in Lehigh, right by Skyridge High School, private lane. They've done a lot of updates on the home. And probably, I think it's 5 or 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. So it'll be nice. And then I've got another one out in Eagle Mountain that's still going through the probate lawyer trying to get all that done, but that's going to be a nice listing, just a nice single family home right there. So,
how soon do you expect them to be?
Well, the Skyridge, I talked to him and I said we need to get it done within a month because I think it might take a little bit of time to come where they're at. But they're excited about their new stuff down south, so they've got motivation on both ends, on the listing and on the so.
Great. Thanks, Barry. Anybody else? Bessie's going to speak up. I know she's just dying to tell us about her new listing that's coming up.
I just signed one yesterday, and it's my very first listing.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So really
Congratulations.
So yeah, just yesterday. So Jeff has been great, just helping me out. And then I have a buyer also looking for a home. I did make an offer, or she made an offer, but it wasn't accepted, so we'll keep looking.
So tell me about your listing. Where is it? How much do you think you're going to ask for it? What's the property?
The listing is in Riverton. We're going to probably start at $570. It's in a gated community, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, built in 2007. It's an estate sale, so the family is just clearing out the home right now, and so maybe in a couple of weeks we'll be able to put it on the list. So I will need that time to prepare. So yeah,
that'd be great. Perfect. Thank you.
What's the price on it?
570.
570.
Is where we're going to start.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody online?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep, it's Heather. Can you hear me, Heather Adams?
Yep.
Yep, can you hear me? Hi. Hey, I have a couple listings. Just one, a townhome in Payson, and then a single family home in Spanish Fork and a single family home in Mapleton. Both the homes are in the low 600s, and the townhome in Payson's like 350 or 359. So if anyone has buyers, bring them.
Well, how many bedrooms on the townhome?
The townhome only has 2 bedrooms, therefore they're moving, but 2 bedrooms. It's over like on the Arrowhead Trail. I don't know if you know the ones over there, but over on Arrowhead Trail, it's super cute. It's 2 levels. Anyways, it's one of the 2-level ones. It's really cute, really updated, only a couple years old. So
Awesome.
that's
Thanks,
all.
Heather.
That's all for me. Thanks.
Thanks, Heather.
Tim, go ahead.
I've had a listing on the market, been under contract 4 times. It's rock bottom price right now. On Geneva Road, so on this road right here, in Provo, 1.1 acres, has a well, 100-year-old house. Initially listed at 830, listed now at low 600s. Developable lot into a couple parcels, or into probably 3 parcels total. Asterisk verify with City of Provo. We're under contract right now, but these buyers can't perform and they're losing their earnest money, sadly. So yeah, if you know anybody interested, it's not back on the market yet.
Like, where's the house compared to the main road?
So the house is probably 50 feet back from Geneva, and then there's a big narrow lot all the way to the back.
So if you put in a road back there, you could still have room for like 1, 2, 3 more
Yeah.
houses.
So it's R18 zoning, which is 8,000 square foot lots. And so on the north side of the lot, you could put a private drive and fit a couple more parcels back there.
So did Provo actually say, or you just think that they might,
So the people that are under contract now, they're
quote
actually,
unquote?
they've been under contract twice now. So they're under
Oh.
contract for the second time, losing 10 grand, which is sad for them. But they talked to the City of Provo, and the City of Provo said that there's frontage enough to fit a private drive as long as you have a cul-de-sac big enough for a fire truck back there. And they said even with needing that, there's still room for 2 extra lots.
So how big is the house?
2,200 square feet, built in 1909, needs some rehabbing. I mean, it's habitable.
Past conventional?
Oh, conventional? Yeah. I think.
In your personal
In my personal
appraiser opinion.
Tim Reynolds' opinion. So they're proposing seller financing with a year balloon right now. My clients are at 50,000 higher than what they're under contract for, and so my clients are deciding. We have it in backup status right now. So
Perfect. Anybody else?
Jeff,
Yep, go ahead.
Kathleen, I have a beautiful townhome in Santaquin on the north end in the Apple Hollow subdivision, and it was completed last April. The girl that bought it has put in a lot of upgrades. It's beautiful. And if any of you have a pen handy, the MLS number is 185-2468. And it's listed at $395. And it's almost 2,200 square feet. It has a full unfinished basement, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, and it's beautiful. It's really, really pretty.
What's the price on it, Kathleen?
$395.
Awesome.
It's got a 2-car garage, oversized too. Her garage is bigger than mine. I mean, it's a big garage.
Well, I haven't seen yours, so I don't know how to compare that, but.
Well, it's a normal garage.
Oh, all right. All right, thanks, Kathleen.
Thanks, Jeff.
Anyone
Hey, Jeff.
else?
Yep. I've got buyers in the $500,000 range looking for something with a separate entry into a basement. American Fork, PG, Linden, that area. Qualified, ready to roll if you got somebody.
Separate entrance has to have an apartment and approved, or just a separate entrance?
They want to rent it out. So I know we operate on a don't ask, don't tell as far as the county's concerned a lot with that stuff, but the eventual plan is to rent it out. And if there's not a separate entrance into it, they at least need a facility so they can do it. This guy is a contractor from way back. He wants to live in the upstairs and futz around with the basement until he can make it a rental.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Who was that?
Scott Schroeder. He sits in the back corner usually. That's Scott. Yeah, Scott.
He wore the onesie at the Halloween.
Yeah. He wore the onesie.
That's me. That's me. I'm the one with the hairdo you all admire so much.
We actually have your seat reserved, Scott, so nobody's sitting in it.
Dang, I missed it. Rats. Okay.
All right, we'll move on then. Vendors, today we've got Elevate and Security Home in the house, and so Elevate, Tanner, you want to take the floor?
Oh, definitely. I'll take time.
Okay.
How much time do I have? Like a minute?
Like 8 seconds.
Okay, cool. Somebody set a timer for that right now. So I'm Tanner with Elevate Home Warranty. You guys probably know Corey. He shows up and he's a goofball. You guys probably know him really well. But a little bit about Elevate. I'm just going to share just like a brief little section about us. But we're in Orem, Utah, so right by Target. I say Target because most of the Utah moms know exactly where that is, right?
Yeah.
So right off of Orem Boulevard down there. Target, thank you very much. So we're right off of Orem Boulevard down there. We've been in Utah for 10 years. So we actually just celebrated our 10-year anniversary in December, which is super awesome. We have 850 reviews on Google with 4.6 stars. 800 of those are my close friends and family. So the 50 other ones are legit if you want to go look at those ones. But we actually offer some really cool things. So we offer free listing coverage, which is something that a lot of people really are interested in. If you put listing coverage on your home, one really cool thing about us is if you put that listing coverage on your home, you can get rid of something called pre-existing conditions. A lot of times if you have a warranty that starts when the buyer gets into their home, we can say, like, let's say a dishwasher breaks the next week. Sometimes it'll look like that's pre-existing, but if you have listing coverage on it, it'll actually clear up some of those discrepancies on whether it was pre-existing or not. So that's super awesome. We do cover outdoor sprinklers. We've just added a bunch of new maintenance items actually to our plan. So we do window washing, carpet cleaning, pest control. So there's a lot of services that we offer now that no other company in Utah covers. So you can call us, even if it's a listing coverage, you can use those maintenance items on the listing. So if you want us to come and clean the windows or do carpet cleaning or any of that kind of stuff, we can do that. So we have a bunch of those services that you can look up on our website. And then we actually just added a bunch of new items like smart home installation and even TV installation as well. So there's some really cool services. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me and we can talk about warranties. So awesome. Thanks, guys.
That was exactly 8 seconds. Thank you.
I guess that leaves me with 4 seconds.
Exactly.
I'll be brief. You've seen me, you've seen Jason. We come around here quite a bit, and hopefully you know us and are comfortable around us. One of the things we're doing right now is trying to inject enthusiasm and optimism into buyers. And so we're emphasizing the 2-1 buy down program, with the sellers now being willing to do a little concession. If they contribute to the buy down fund with the lender, then for year 1, the rate is reduced by 2%. In year 2, it's reduced by 1%. But that war chest of money stays with the lender. So if they refinance when the rates drop, they can, in essence, get their refinance for free, because the money will come back from the lender that's in that war chest and be returned to the buyer of the home. So keep that in mind as something that you could do that might get somebody moving a little bit if they're feeling like they want to wait. The longer they wait, the more uncertainty comes into whether they're going to be able to afford a home.
Question about the 2-1 buy down. If they don't use that for paying for the refinance, does it go towards principal reduction, or where does the money go afterwards?
Well, if they don't use it for refinance, it would be used to pay down the mortgage. So
okay.
If their payment would be $1,500 a month normally, in the first year it would be $1,300 a month, and the second year it would be $1,400 a month, and then the third year it would go to the $1,500 a month for the rest of the term. But if they don't use it, that money is refunded to them when they refinance. So that's just something to keep in their pocket. Kurt Cummings. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Kurt. So In West is in the house. We've got Susie and Amy and Hayden here. Susie, do you want to say anything? I'll give you your 30 seconds. Yeah.
In West Tidal, we have a new location in Lehigh. We also have a new location in Moab for those of you who like to travel or have Airbnbs or clients who like to hike.
Or mountain bike.
But we also have our location right up the street in Orem on 7th Street. And come get some pebble ice and a soda and say hi.
Where's the new location? You said by Costco.
Yeah, it's right by Stonehaven Dental.
Okay, right
it's
on
by
that other
Lowe's.
corner. Yeah.
So you can like tap all of your errands in one stop.
There's a Denny's right there too,
Susie,
isn't
within
there?
West Tidal. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a Swig and the 313 Pizzeria. There's lots of good new restaurants over there.
And you can get your cavities taken care of at the same
And your
time.
cavities,
I mean,
but
how much better could
I
it be?
apologize about that. One other thing is WCR is having a meeting on February 8th. If that's something, it's on marketing yourself. So if anyone's interested in that, you can be a woman, a man. It's all inclusive, even though it's called.
So that's the Women's Council of
I'm sorry?
Realtors, by the way, WCR.
Hey, you don't have to check any boxes.
Anywhere in between.
All right, guys, so I sent out a survey the end of last month, the end of December, kind of asking you about team meetings, what you wanted to hear and see and change and all that. One of the things that we heard the most was that you wanted to hear from agents and what they're doing and what's successful for them. So today we have 2 secret agents, and they're going to share their agent secrets with us. And so our 2 secret agents today are Perry Mills and Perry Bronson. It's the Perry Show today.
Let's go!
Can't get any better than the Perry Show. And so Perry Mills, we'll turn the time over to you and whatever you'd like to share with us.
Thank you. Well, plenty of time at the end, Perry.
I'm gonna mic you though.
Okay.
So if you'll just clip that on, throw this in your pocket.
All right. Thank you. I am not. So, delightful bride here, Michelle, is going to be our object lesson at the beginning. She, a wonderful person. She was having a great conversation with our daughter a little bit ago. I think Michelle looks wonderful, but they were talking about weight loss. And so they were discussing how Weight Watchers is the best program out there. Totally works. Michelle was giving it this glowing review. And finally, our daughter, who was probably 17 or 18 at the time, said, well, Mom, why isn't it working? And so the whole point is Michelle was laughing about it and all that kind of stuff. But the reason I bring that up is quite often we'll hear great advice from these real estate type things. And you have to wonder, does it work? Does it actually make a difference? Does it give any benefit? And so my discussion today is going to be focused on that aspect, the things in my business that have actually helped and that have made a difference. And so hopefully it'll be beneficial for you. So I started out in the real estate business in 2010. That first year, had no idea what I was doing, totally inexperienced. Started off with a brokerage that was all about Mike Ferry. So I don't know if you're familiar with them, but it's all about FSBOs, calling people cold. Expired, so I spent probably an hour and a half to 2 hours per day cold calling people. At the end of the year, I'd closed 14 transactions, which, not bad for your first year, but I discovered you can do something you totally hate and still be successful. The point was, there was something important there that I was doing, reaching out and touching base with clients. It was helpful for me and started us off. Did that for 3 or 4 years, had a coach, the whole 9 yards. Eventually, we decided to go to Brian Buffini. Brian Buffini, we stayed with them for probably 5 or 6 years. And they're all about connecting with your SOI, your circle of influence. And so the whole point was you need to connect with them in meaningful, productive ways. So calls, notes, pop-bys, events, that type of thing. With Brian Buffini, we would do anywhere from low 20s to high 30s in transactions. And so it works, it totally works. And the part that I love the most is something you can enjoy. Totally enjoyed the Mike Ferry approach much better than, totally enjoyed the Brian Buffini approach much better than the cold calls with Mike Ferry. So it was great for us. And those were exactly the things that we still focus on: calls, notes, pop-bys, and events. We try to do about 2 events per year. Sometimes we do more, sometimes we do less. And we try to do pop-bys to at least our A's and A pluses, which are the people that do refer. We try to get out to them once a month. Sometimes we do that, sometimes we don't. Last one that we've done is one called Ninja Selling. It's very similar to Mike Ferry, very similar to Brian Buffini. except for they added a few great benefits to it, which I think are very helpful. First one is they do what's called annual reviews. So you go out and visit with clients that have been, past clients or people that you want to stay in touch with. You just give them an update on what the value of their home is, the direction of the market, all that type of stuff. Keeps you top of mind. And another great idea that they do is one of their top agents through this Ninja Selling, they've got a binder with all of their clients that they want to stay in touch with that they just keep in their car. So as they drive around town, they intend to touch base with each person in that binder once a quarter. So if they're in a neighborhood, they can easily stop by, say hello to somebody, drop off a gift, whatever they do for their pop-bys. All of those things have been super helpful for us. Now, the question I have for you is, we all probably know what it takes to be successful in the real estate business. We know we need to reach out to touch, we need to stay in touch with people. We need to make meaningful connections. The big question is, why don't we do it? And that's what I want to focus on today. I'm a big believer that if we make a statement like the market's slow, or I haven't ever been this successful, or whatever statement we want to make, it closes our mind. If we ask a question, it will open our mind. So the question I'm hoping you'll ask yourselves is, why is it that I don't do the things I know I should do? Why is it I don't do them as well? Why is it that just ask yourself that question and hopefully you'll come up with some great answers. So I think one of the biggest things that I like to focus on to help my business to be successful is nurturing and building energy so you don't burn out. Because burnout, the longer you've been in this industry, I think the more likely that you can burn out or have slow times or have droughts or whatever you want to call it. And so for me, I've discovered that preventing burnout comes through a couple of different key things that have been super helpful. First one is I love to connect with my family. I will, I've got 5 kids. I'll take them to lunch about once a month. You wouldn't think that would be helpful for your business, but I got to tell you, after I finish a lunch with kids, I feel so much more energetic and so much more ready to go out and do my business than I did before that lunch. So it's usually just a one-on-one lunch with each child. Try to do it once a month. And it does remind us that I'm glad I didn't choke them to death when they were teenagers. That's true. That's very true. Michelle and I also like to go to lunch once a week, which is awesome. And then we also like to go on a date once a week. The other thing that's been super helpful for us, as you can tell, with Mike Ferry, the Brian Buffini, the Ninja Selling, we are seminar junkies. We love to go learn about different ways to generate business and to make money and to be happy doing it. So we like to go on quarterly trips where we'll go off on a vacation. Quite often we'll combine it with, let's go hit the Mike Ferry deal, or sorry, we don't do him anymore, but let's go do the Brian Buffini deal. I know, it was a traumatic time. I really did not like it. No, his seminars were okay. But anyway, the bottom line is having some way of nurturing that energy inside of yourself to be productive and to enjoy what you're doing even more. So I also love vision boards. Vision boards have been super helpful for us. We had to figure out how to do it. It's much more than just throwing stuff up on the board. A big aspect that's been helpful for me is I have what I call the Turbo Trio. So the top 3 items that are on my vision board that I want to accomplish sooner, I'll write them on a card. I've got them all over the place where I see them regularly. I see them when I shower. I see them in my car. I see them, on the vision board. And that I notice as soon as I get rid of the resistance to that item, then I know that it's about to manifest. And so it's really just getting myself out of the way. Then I think the other thing that is.
But you're really good at not getting a negative in there. You just, that's one of your great
Yeah, that is true. For example, we all see the green company, we won't mention names, but the discount brokerage, all the ads that they put up on the freeway signs. I notice if I give that a place in my mind, my business will slow down, not because of what they're doing, but because of what I believe. And so if I can turn that around and say, "God, my clients are so lucky to be working with me," and to focus on that rather than all the junk that's out there, because there's a lot of junk. The final thing that I want to share with you guys is it's easy for me to sit up here and say the things that have worked for me. I hope none of you will actually think, well, Perry did this and he's been reasonably successful. Maybe I should do the same thing. It may work for you, but it may not. The point is, it's best for you to ask yourself, what is it that it will help me to be the most successful? Which of these points can I implement? Which ones do I want to implement? Which ones will inspire me and give me more energy so that we can actually be more successful? Sorry, what was
What's
that?
your why?
That's right. That's right. The why is definitely the most important thing for us. So I think that's pretty much it. Any questions? Anybody have anything that? No? Perry, it's up to you. Hopefully you can finish her.
That's your mic.
Oh,
Oh, yeah. Perry needs a mic too, Perry. I really don't, but
there you go.
thank you. Hello, online. They all got off. That's right. Well, you know, this is awesome. I've loved Perry Mills for a lot of years. We've known each other for a long time. I met Perry when I was doing title insurance, and I said, man, another handsome man with the name Perry.
And now you love me too.
That's right. And I love Michelle. I've always said I wanted to be just like Perry. Tall and handsome. So, but when our district director, Jeff, invited me to share a couple of things, I was like, oh boy, this ought to be fun. So years ago, I heard a quote, and I don't know who actually had said where this quote came from, but it said, money is what we trade our lives for. And over the years, I've thought about it, and I've thought about the different, meanings of how that could go. So money is what we trade our lives for. And I've said I've never wanted to trade my life for money. But I know that I have to make money to be able to lead a kind of lifestyle that I want or I need or my family needs, that why that the Mills just talked about. And so today, I'm wearing a Barcelona soccer jersey. My son is playing right now in Barcelona, his second game. And so that's one of my whys. I want to be able to provide something for my kids, right? And so with that, the aspect of working hard for something is one of those reasons. I got into real estate for a better life. Some of you know the story of how I got into real estate. I was doing title insurance, doing really well with it. My wife said she's never been happier. The consistency of a paycheck, the insurance, all of the things good that way. Well, these guys came and recruited me. I went over to a construction lending company, and I got fired about a week before all of my bonuses and everything kicked in. And I'll tell you what, it was devastating. The hardest thing, because I'm like, man, all of my hard work for the last year is kicking in. Well, I learned a very valuable lesson. Utah's a hire at will, fire at will state. So none of that mattered of what I put into it. So it was really awkward. Peter will love this. I had to unload a whole bunch of ARs and shotguns and ammo out of the company car that I was driving and load into a taxi cab. And let me just tell you, that taxi cab driver, his eyes were wide as we drove.
One in the state.
Yeah. As we drove back from Salt Lake, and I show up at my house, my wife goes, oh, wow, you're home early. That was quick. I thought you were going to go shooting. And I go, let me tell you, So that was one of my whys. I said I never want to put myself into a situation where I'm going to get fired again. And so that's given me lots of motivation to become a better man, a better husband, a better father, a better realtor. The ups and downs, as Perry talked about also, the highs and the lows of the market. I remember when I first started, you're like, oh man, I'm really high, but man, everything was so hard, and trying to find that niche of really what I could do to make it and how I could make it. So my first point is be consistent at being consistent. Get up and do work every day. Right? We have to be motivated to make the phone call, to show up at the office, to be a friend, right? We have to do something. So get up and call, text, personal visits to my lenders, right? That's who I work with on a regular basis, lenders.
to my title companies. I love my title companies, right? So what I'm trying to say is my friendships are now within our industry, right? I enjoy going to lunch and to the movies and to camping and having these experiences with people that I actually work with. One of my things here is get business where you do business, right? So my deals come from gas stations, right? I go in and get a drink every morning, and I've helped a whole lot of managers at gas stations across Utah County and Utah in general buy homes, right? These managers, a lot of times they don't know that they can actually qualify. And I'm like, you are a manager at a big corporation. Let's work with a good lender and figure out exactly how you can do this. There's no reason that you should be renting. So that's one of the ones. My dry cleaner, I've helped him get into 2 homes and to buy a couple of investments now. I also love going to eat, so I get business from restaurants. Number 2, accountability. Who are we accountable to? So I'm accountable not only to myself, my family, my broker, district director. I love that. It's a sweet title. But I'm also accountable to each of us as professionals in our industry. I think that's something that that I've learned, that I love being accountable by my peers, right? To make that good. So number 3, make and keep friends. I look around and I know a lot of them are not here right now, but my best friends and mentors are realtors that I love doing stuff with. We go camping together, we go fishing together, we go hunting together. We have outside relationships because of the friendships. And not everybody has the beauty of working with a team, right? And so, right, it's nice to be able to have that. But if you don't, I can call Perry or Peter and say, hey, I need help with this transaction. Will you help me on it? And they're able to help that. So I think that's something really good. I think what has helped me the most is having the confidence in myself that's what drives me to stay busy for myself and having that. But I also know that having a great mentor, Greg Peck is the one that actually got me into real estate. Tim Herrera was one of my bosses at a title company. And I've never felt that they haven't given me the help that I've ever needed. Pam Ogden's another one. I've known Pam for a lot of years, and she has been just not only a great friend, but a help in everything that we do. So I think that's a few good points that hopefully you'll be able to take and use. And I think, really, I tried to say, not just with the realtors, but with all of us in our industry of how we can be better at that. So thanks.
Awesome.
Any questions? Peter, oh, I love you.
It's also helps to have a slightly bubbly personality.
Yeah, slightly
I was
bubbly.
gonna say, you've helped us out. We felt like we could go to you and you were totally there for us, and we were out of town one time, and we really appreciate that. And
Absolutely.
I love how you have the attitude of, it's not a competition. It's like we are all in this together, and there's enough to go around, and we're like a brotherhood.
Absolutely. And I think that is the greatest part, is that if we can't help one another, it makes it really hard and frustrating, right? So I think I love that about our industry, is that we can help. And one thing that I'd say, not just our friends in the room here and at Fathom, make and keep friends outside. Jean Tanner, when she came here, I just found out one of the young girls in my ward for the church is her personal assistant. And I'm like, I'm going to stay really close to you, because I know that girl is learning. And I said, are you going to get your license? And she goes, I think down the road I will. And I said, you should, because you are being taught by one of the absolute greatest realtors, not only in the state, but probably in the country. So, you know, those are things that I think are very important to have friends. And, during the heat, when, man, it was coming up and the market's going crazy and we've got realtors coming in, Jeff knows, I tried to help a couple of different ones because they were struggling and didn't have broker support. And it's like, it was kind of hard and frustrating to see them just spiraling. Who said they're losing earnest money? Your guy, right? To see them lose earnest money. And when you call the broker and say, hey, you really need to help your agent because you need to look at the file, please. Right? And we said that, and and they ended up losing a big chunk of earnest money, and it's so sad. So helping one another as friends in our industry, I think, is very important. So thank you.
Thanks, Barry. Yeah, you have to unmic because I don't want everybody hearing what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's good. I'll be back there. I don't know how to do
You
it.
just leave it on the table. It's all good. All right, hopefully everybody got something they can use out of this. For me, it's just remembering consistency. So consistency is one of those big things. All right, guys, moving on to the meat of the discussion here. So that you guys know, SkySlope, as in SkySlope from iPro, if you're using that, the DigiSign product or the SkySlope product, that is going to be discontinued as of February 1st for most agents. We'll be down to just under 100 agents that'll have access to that, and that's if you have a current transaction in SkySlope with iPro that will be used. So to transition out of that, there's a few things you can do. My recommendation is that you use SkySlope Forms off the MLS. It's free with your MLS dues, so free, right? You're paying for it, but it's with your MLS dues. I'll actually be doing a training on Zoom February 1st, and so look for that training. Teaching you how to use it, best practices, tips and tricks, and those kind of things. And there's a couple of trainings online with the MLS as well if you're interested in getting started with that. And it is very similar to the DigiSign. I mean, it's SkySlope. It's just a different spin-off from them. And so if you know SkySlope, this is a very similar product. It has all of our forms loaded into it, so very easy to use. That said, you're welcome to use whatever digital signature product that you want, and there's a ton of them out there. And it doesn't really matter to me what you use for digital signatures.
Is Fathom never gonna come out with one?
So it's not. This wasn't by mistake that I included everything around the Fathom logo. Fathom is working on one. There will be one come out. My guess is second quarter of this year, but don't quote me on that because they've been very slow in getting it to fruition. And my guess is that because it's their first time getting through it, that it'll have a few bugs and hiccups. And so I would suggest you have something in your back burner to use in the meantime. But yes, Fathom will come up with one.
Is DigiSign different from SkySlope's DigiSign?
It is, yep. So, and quite frankly, there's another 20 products out there, right? If you want a digital signature manager, there's all kinds of different ones depending on what you're looking for and what features are important to you. Okay, Fathom reminders. So let's go through getting paid easily and quickly. This is probably my biggest amount of time that I spend with agents, is getting you paid, getting you checks, making sure you get it on time and fast. And so let's go through a few things that will help that happen. First, make sure that your title company contact info is correct. So in your transaction itself, under the contacts, make sure that you get your escrow officer in there. Mine's always Amy, right? And her contact information always auto-populates for me. So get your title company information in there. Make sure that it's correct. Make sure you have a right email address. Absolutely imperative that you have the right email address there because that's where commission instructions are going to go. So if you mistype it or don't put one in or put a fake one in, title's not going to get your commission instructions. So they're not going to know what to do. Okay. And the second place, when you submit, it will show you again who it is, what their email address is, where it's going to go, so that you know for sure that's where your commission instructions are going to go when you submit your file for a funding request.
Who's Amy Adams? Is that just a default?
Yeah, just it's my default, right? Second is submit your transactions at least 5 days before closing. So I can't tell you how many times I get calls from an agent that says, hey, title hasn't received the commission instructions. Can you tell me when title will receive that? And I pull up their file and it hasn't even been submitted yet, right? Or there's still documents that haven't been uploaded yet. So that's your responsibility to get your documents in and get it submitted at least 5 days before so that those commission instructions can get out to title. If you call me the day of closing and say, hey, where's commission instructions, and you haven't submitted, there's not a lot I can do. I can help you get it submitted, but it's still got to go through the review process and the accounting process to get that CDA pushed out. So it may be 24, 48 hours until those commission instructions hit. So just know at least 5 days before, submit that file. Next, this is a big one, table funding versus standard funding. Which one do you pick? So you've got two choices on how you want to be paid. Table funding means that title will cut a check in your name and they will send it here to the brokerage so you can come pick it up, right? Standard funding means they will cut a check in Fathom's name and they'll send it to Fathom Accounting. Fathom Accounting will receive it in California. They will send an email to you with an e-check, or if you have direct deposit information on file, it will be direct deposited. The e-check and direct deposit methods, normally I see that funding to agents somewhere between 2 to 3 days after closing, sometimes as much as 4 and 5 days after closing, just depending on how quickly the title company gets the check to the accounting department. Table funding, usually you're able to come pick up your check the day after it funds and records, sometimes the day of, depending on the title company and how quickly they get it here. Or sometimes like a week if you're using crazy title company down in Orangeville, right? But reality is it's usually faster to have it table funded in almost every single case. So that you know, just a reminder, this was in the fourth quarter newsletter from the division. This is what they said. They said, while the statute does allow title insurance agent to prepare the payment instrument is a check, so they can prepare the check. Brokers may not delegate the distribution of the commission instrument, i.e. the check, to a title company. So in other words, we can't let the title company take over our responsibility to give you that money. Commission instruments, checks, need to be delivered to the principal broker, who then delivers them to the associate broker or sales agent. So that was clarified again by the division. That's why you can no longer just pick up your check from title or have title wire the money straight into your account. It's a Utah state law that that's not allowed, and the divisions come down and clarified that and made sure that we're aware of that. Okay, one more. Net listings. So if you've got a net listing that you close and you're trying to get your commission on it, just remember that that's a little bit different when you go through your funding request. So in this example, on a 2.5% net listing on a $420,000 home with $10,000 in closing costs, you would figure it out. So you would take the 420, subtract the 10,000 to get 410, multiply that by your commission amount. That's your commission amount that you're getting paid. Instead of putting the 2.5 into your percentage that you're getting paid, you need to type the actual dollar amount here, and then it will figure out the net listing percentage for you. So when you're doing a net listing, just make sure and calculate your actual commission and type that in. If that's confusing, which it is for most agents, just call me. I'm happy to help you. In fact, I'll probably just submit it for you, to be really honest. But I'll help you through it as much as you need, okay? And last one, and this is probably the most important one, especially if you are needing that check tomorrow because your gas is going to be turned off and you've got to pay your utility bills, just talk to your escrow officer. Let them know what to expect as far as the CDA, what it's going to look like, where funds are going to be sent to, if it's going to be a check to the office, which office to send it to. Just communicate with them. Escrow officers are awesome and they're happy to help you get paid as quickly as possible, as long as you communicate with them. Right, so just tell them what's going on. Okay, more Fathom reminders. Remember that you need to start an IntelliAgent file within 48 hours of documents being signed. So you get a listing agreement signed, you get a buyer broker signed. Make sure those files are started within 48 hours of having those things signed. Right, if you've got a buyer broker agreement signed and you don't have a property to attach it to, it's okay. Just go ahead and start that file with an address to be determined, right, or blank, and upload that document so that we've got it there and we can review it. The reason is the state requires us as a brokerage to have those things available to us within 48 hours to review in case we're ever questioned on it or someone else calls on it or whatever. So we've got to have those things in the file. Second, this is a big one that I've been asked recently about annual fees. So your annual fee, you have a $600 annual fee. That annual fee isn't based on a calendar year, so it's not necessarily January 1. It's the date that you started with Fathom, a year from that date, right? So if you were an iPro agent, that's April 1. Your first transaction after April 1, you'll be charged a $600 transaction fee. Or whichever day you started with Fathom after a year, you've got one transaction, you'll be charged that $600. If you need a buyer walkthrough, a buyer inspection, an MLS change form, a W-9 for a referral, our NAID number if you're doing a HUD home, a lead-based paint pamphlet, a commission reduction form, if you're doing a mobile home and you want a mobile home contract, if you're doing pretty much anything and you don't know where to look for the contract or the document, just go into IntelliAgent, go to the menu and click on Fathom, and then go to Resources. You'll be amazed how much stuff is there. So there's a ton of stuff there for you. I get asked this question at least daily. Where do I find XYZ? And Bessie, just so you know, I'll send these slides out.
Oh, great.
So you'll get it. All these slides will go out.
Thank you.
Okay. If you need a listing presentation, a buyer presentation, social media posts that are already done for you, letterheads, stickers, all kinds of other stuff, IntelliAgent, go to the marketing tab and then go to the marketing center, and all that's there for you. Tons of stuff for you to download and use for free. There is stuff that you can buy and you can pay for and have shipped to you, but there is a ton of stuff there for free. Really good resources for you for marketing. So make sure that you check that out. This is a huge one, guys. Check your branding. Make sure that your branding in all of these places is correct. We've been from either Aubrey and Associates or iPro, it's been at least 6 months, if not more, that you've been over with Fathom. Just this last week, I've encountered 3 people who have either email signatures or voicemails set up with someone different than Fathom. Okay, so make sure that your branding is correct. So go through, check it, check your Facebook headers, check your realtor.com posts, you know, all that kind of stuff. Make sure it's actually correct so that you've got that there. This is the biggest one that we have. This is a legal reminder. This is the biggest issue that we have in the compliance department right now, and that is getting agency signed. Get it signed before, right? This is the article that comes from the division. Agents have the affirmative duty to execute a written agency agreement and to confirm this agency agreement when executing a binding agreement in a transaction, i.e. writing an offer, right? So on the seller side, make sure that they sign the ERS first before you list it, right? Or before you accept an offer especially, right? Or if you're on the buyer side, make sure you get a buyer broker agreement signed before you write that offer. The one that I see the very most is this one, the buyer. And when do I see it the most? New construction, right? Because you take your client who you don't have a buyer broker signed with, you walk into Edge Homes, they convince your client that's the perfect house, and the client's like, sure, let's write an offer. They write up the offer right there and then, they have your client sign it, and you're like, oh, I totally forgot that I don't have a buyer broker signed, right? So make sure that you get it signed first. The easy way is if you have a consultation meeting first, just have it signed then. Another easy way to do it is just keep a paper copy with you in your car. If you go to Edge Homes and they're like, hey, we want to write an offer, just say, hey, I just need to go get that buyer broker agreement, get that thing signed at the same time, right? So keep a paper copy in your car if you're going to be doing that, if you think for any reason, right? Or if you're really good with digital, you can have that all set up in SkySlope forms. You can easily just send it over to them within seconds to have it signed. Okay, but make sure you get it signed. If you don't get it signed, then I have to write you a naughty note and say, hey, you didn't do it right and you agree to do it later, and we all have to sign it, and it's dumb, but it gets the division happy. There's a lot of reasons to do it, right? Absolutely.
I mean, sometimes that happens, but as a norm, it should be when you start showing homes, you should have that competition.
100%. Thanks, Shelley. All right, legal reminder, this is a disciplinary action. This is a fun one. Was in the last quarter newsletter. Mr. Armstrong, who was an agent, i.e. also a broker, admitted that he advertised the availability of a property in a false, misleading, or deceptive manner without the written consent of the property owner. He stated that he had a decades-long friendship with a person who was the mother of the property owner, and he relied on the mother's representation and signatures. So in other words, he went to the home, he wanted to sell the home, the mom said, sure, let's sell the home. The mom signed all the paperwork. She didn't own the property, right? And so he still listed it, misrepresented what the property was, ended up being a $2,000 fine and 4 hours of CE, I believe. So just make sure that you know who's on title. Amy, what's a good way to know who's on title?
Just tell me.
Just call Amy, right?
I'll give you a little more.
So just call her and say, hey, do we have the right people on title? The most common one is not, hey, I went and talked to the mom and she said it's okay to list their son's property. That's not the most common one. That's kind of a dumb one. I don't know what Mr. Armstrong was thinking, to be honest. The most common one is that we see you'll go and get the client's signatures, but it's actually in an LLC or a trust, right? And so the LLC or the trust are the ones who own it. It may be the same signers, but they're not signing as a trust or a trustee or whatever. So just make sure that you know who it is that's actually property owners when you're getting those signatures for your ERS, okay? Last legal reminder, back up your data. Right, back up your documents. Whose responsibility is it to have copies of all of your transaction documents? You, right? Not the brokerage. We still keep a copy and we help you, but it's not our responsibility. Division puts that directly on you. Back up your texts, back up your contact information, back up all your notes on any given file. How long do you have to keep this information? You have to keep it 3 full calendar years, right? So if it goes under as a sold property today, I have to keep it, this is a partial year, right, for this year, and then I have to keep it 3 additional years from there. So just keep it for 4 years, just to be safe, right? In almost every case, you're going to keep it 4 years, right? There's great resources out there to do it. iMazing 2, if you use the Mac platform, the Apple platform is fantastic for backing up everything that you need off of your phone. And SMS backup and restore is great for Android, and there's other options there as well through Google and those kind of things. But just keep it. I'll tell you that I just got a subpoena last week for an agent that has to provide all of their documents from 2018. And so he's trying to figure out where his text messages and all that kind of stuff is. So just know that they're going to ask for it sometimes, right? So just have those backed up somewhere for sure.
Is it true that if they do ask for stuff like that, they don't ask for just that one transaction, they'll ask for everything during that year so they can?
So typically that's something that you see when the division's auditing your files, is that they'll ask for multiple things that connect to that or multiple deals that you've done during that time period to see what you've done. As far as a subpoena, they're usually dialed in directly on one given transaction, right? So that's what they want. MLS reminders, a couple of these so that you know aligned showings is taking the place of showing time. So this will be the new showing partner that they'll be using. They actually bought it. They own it along with a number of MLSs across the country. So this will start to take effect as of January 30th. So be aware of that. Showing time will remain in place so that the transition isn't a super hard break. So it will be there for a little while. I don't know how long they'll keep it there, but this will be the new showing service. And so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. From all my talks with Molly and the MLS, it should be a really fantastic product. So I'm actually looking forward to it. And now Zillow will have less of our data, right? MLS reminder again, so that you know days on market is changing as of February 1st. We used to have the DOM and the CDOM. That's changing. We're only going to now have days on market, and that's it, a DOM. That number will be there so that you know how that changes things. Property status effects on the days on market. If your property is in active or backup status, your days on market increases, right? Every day it's going to increase. It will pause, so it won't go up at all if you're in active no-show, if you're in withdrawn status, or if you're under contract. So it will just pause completely. And then the final value, what actually shows as the final days on market, will happen when it's either sold, canceled, or expired. Now, for newly listed or expired listings, this is how that affects this, right? So the days on market will carry over from what it was previously if the listing is canceled or expired and the same property is relisted within 30 days by either you, the same listing agent, or another agent within our office, right? So Peter can't cancel it and give it to Barb to list it and have new days on market. Can't happen anymore, sorry, right? So if it gets listed by Eric and then somebody at Equity lists it, this doesn't apply, right? It starts over because it's a new brokerage that's listing it. Days on market starts at 0 if it's off the MLS for 30 days, if it's expired or canceled or sold for 30 days, right? When listed with a new brokerage office, which I just explained, if the listing sells, then when it relists, so it could sell today and relist tomorrow, and it would start at 0. And if a certificate of occupancy is provided, and that's for new construction. So it used to be that you had to pull it for 90 days before it reset, although there were ways around it. And this eliminates the ways around it, gives us much more consistency and a better picture of how many days it's actually been on market. Other questions on that? Okay. So listing status changes, just so that you know, you're responsible for these. Most listing status changes must occur within 3 business days of the date the status change occurs. So if it goes under contract, you've got 3 days to get that, 3 business days to get that updated. Okay, or if it goes from under contract to active, same thing, right? So any of those status changes, you've got 3 business days to take care of that. If you don't, the MLS will fine you. Canceled listings have to be changed to cancel within 24 hours of a listing agreement termination. So if your ERS gets terminated, you've got 24 hours to update that. And on a sold listing, it has to be marked sold within 5 business days of the date of sale. And so that's often where we see you're trying to get that sold MLS sheet in from on your IntelliAgent transaction, and the other agent hasn't marked it as sold yet. They've got 5 business days, right? But you will get fined on these if you don't do it, and it is your responsibility to update those. The brokerage doesn't update those statuses for you. You're responsible for doing that. Scams, a couple of fun scams going on out there, guys. These are super fun ones.
Can we go back to that? Fine. Sorry.
Yeah.
Is that, so obviously they can tell if you sold it on January 15th and it's January 21st that you didn't update it within 5 business days. Is that an automatic fine? Are they going to fine that every time?
Yep.
How much?
I believe the first. Well, excuse me. Yeah. So hypothetically, if you were to do that, the first fine is $50. The second offense is $100. The third offense is $250, and then after that, I think there's other consequences that go into place. Yeah.
Yes.
So scams. The first one is a vacant land scam that happens. As a listing agent, you'll get a call, a text, and an email from an out-of-state seller who has some vacant land that they would like to sell. They tell you that they need to sell their property very quickly. They need to get it sold immediately. They've gotten, whatever needs that they have that they've got the money for, and that they're willing to list the property well below the actual value. Okay. On the buyer side, you'll find that the buyer will come to you and say, hey, I found this amazing land in the middle of Orem that's priced $100,000 below list. It's on a FSBO site, right? Would love to buy it. Okay. Both of these are how they go about getting the agents trapped into this land scam, right? And they will always want to sign digitally. They don't want to ever come in to sign or to have anybody go out to them. They always want to sign digitally. They're able to often produce IDs. Okay, they can produce an ID with the owner's name. And some have been able to get it actually closed, recorded, funded, like recorded at the county. Have you guys had any in West?
Yeah, so we have been trained on this one too. We have, another one that they're telling that is happening is they want to close extremely fast. That's, I mean, I have transactions that close really fast too, that are just fine, but it puts me on edge. And then also, it's not necessarily they want to sign digitally, because that happens too, but they also want to sign with a mobile notary. The mobile notary they have. And they're like, oh, we have a notary, it's no big deal, let's, I can sign it out here. So, and that actually just happened to Clay Winder in Keller.
Yeah, it's out there, guys. It happens. You'll get these texts. It's really hard as an agent right now because you want to get the listing, you want to get the buyer, you want to get it sold, you want the commission, right? And so it's hard to kind of push these away, but just be smart about them. Some ways to kind of avoid this. First, trust your instincts, right? If this isn't feeling right, if it's like just not grooving with you, don't be desperate about it. Ask specific questions about the property, right? Ask them to tell you about what's across the street, right? Or tell you how many trees are on it or whatever, right? What the HOA is or whatever it is, ask those specific questions. Another good tip is to just make up a detail, right? Say, hey, tell me about that red barn in the back corner. Is that going to get torn down or what's going to happen with it, right? And if they're like, yeah, that red barn has been there forever, you know it's probably not the case, okay? See if title has a mailing address or phone numbers for the owners and see if you can track them down. That's a good one. So just make sure that you're actually dealing with the right people in this. And another one is just to ask them to Zoom with you, right? In most cases, they do not want you to see who they are, where they are, what they're doing, and so they'll usually decline and move on. So a couple of things that you can do. In all honesty, the first one, trust your instincts, is probably the best one. If it feels too good to be true, very, very likely is. And get title involved. They deal with it, and so they're happy to help you through it.
And if you have our app, you can get a property profile typically really fast, and then it'll also help with that other issue about knowing who's on title when you're going into that appointment.
Great point. Thank you. All right, this is an email hijacking scam that actually happened to me directly. So I've got a property listed. This is the text that I got, 7:30 in the morning. Hey, is your property still available? And I replied, well, yeah, it is. Right? He said, okay, can I send you a random digit to see if you are real? And I was like, well, yeah, you can, but you can just look me up online. I'm everywhere. I'm a broker of a major brokerage, so it's not too hard to tell that I'm real. And he said, okay, I'll send it, check your phone message and send me the code. So this is what I got. This is your Google Voice verification code, okay? So this is from a Google verification code from my Gmail account. Okay, and so he's asking me to give him this number to make sure that I'm a real person, right? Now,
They're doing that on Facebook Marketplace.
yeah, Facebook Marketplace, it doesn't matter, KSL, no matter where you're listing your property, they're finding these properties and they're reaching out to you, wanting you to share codes, right? So that they can get in. Basically, he wanted to get in, take over my email account and spam people probably, or do whatever he was gonna do, right? And so my response to him was, yeah, I don't share my verification codes, but thank you. And he says, actually, there's a lot of scammer in HAR. This code is to prove that you are real. And I'm like, yeah, prove you are real, right? Yes, a lot of scammers, so I believe that anything you send me a copy, why don't you send me a copy of a pre-approval letter, right? That's my request is, hey, send me something. He says send it, right? He's like, send it, send that code. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna send it, thanks for making my day. And so a few minutes later, he says, if your post is real, send me the code and then I'll call. And then a few minutes later, he sends again, send it, right? So he's getting to the point of, I want it right now. Okay. Yeah, Yeah. Often I will lead these guys on for hours and hours, but just know that this does happen out there.
Well, another thing that probably, his desperation was probably because they time out.
It expires.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
I always say, get a real job, get an honest, real job.
So if you
It's a good one.
prolong the conversation, it'll go past that time if you're even questioning it.
Okay, Maya.
Was that Perry?
It is Perry. I had Perry dress up and do this for me.
But we know which Perry.
Which one?
Are you all receiving a text about health insurance
Get the
with the
clip
realtors?
Yes.
I can't stop them. I
Every
tell
day, you
them,
mean?
I block it, I block the number, I tell them to stop, and it just goes on and on and on.
Or they changed their name.
They're like, and how that now?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I'm just going to talk about events for the year. This is a list of all the events that we'll be doing. So our Easter egg event is probably second. We're going to do awards first, or maybe
Awards are gonna be in April.
awards are going to be in April. So just kidding. Our Easter egg hunt will be first. That's tentatively going to be March 27th. I am going to rent out the Riverton City Park, if you know where that is, because we're going to do it with all Northern Utah offices. So include like Clearfield all the way down to like our office. So Riverton City Park is where that's going to be. There's another slide about it, but then we're going to do the pool party sometime in July. I think we're actually going to move it to the first week of August, just so we can catch people before they go back to school. It's still warm, a good time for that. And then awards, we do our agent appreciation barbecue at the end of summer every year, so we'll do that. And then pumpkin patch, we haven't decided on that. We might combine these two events just because there's going to be a lot going on in October. And then we do our Thanksgiving pie event and then our office Christmas party. But these are all of our events for this year. This is all the info that I have about the Easter egg hunt. So it's going to be on March 27th. That's a Monday evening. I will have the park rented from 4 to 10 for like setup and takedown. We'll probably do the Easter egg hunt in like age divisions. We'll have food there, bouncy houses, games, fun stuff like that. This is an event that you invite all of your clients to, potential clients, past clients, future clients. Yeah, so this is the large pavilion. It seats like 500 people. And then we'll have access to this big field right there. And then all the other fields are first come, first serve. But I'm sure that field will probably be just enough room. So this is kind of like a price breakdown. Since this is such a big event and we have to rent space for it and feed people and like rent a whole bunch of things, it's going to cost between $250 and $300 per agent. But the more people that participate in the event, the cost goes down like significantly. This is just based, I think this is based on 12 agents participating, but since we're including 4 offices, hopefully that number will go down and not up. But this will be a really fun event.
Or on stuff like that, are we gonna be utilizing all 4 offices every time?
No.
Okay, because my clients aren't gonna go to Riverton. I mean, I know that.
Your clients are lazy.
Well, it's just a reality.
Yes,
I
they
mean,
are.
with kids and stuff, I mean, that, you know, in these times, I mean, it's hard. Monday night, is that one?
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tough one to get 1 or 2 clients of mine to Riverton on a Monday night.
We,
You know, and I'm inviting.
yeah,
Yeah.
we don't have great participation from actually really anyone in events. So including 4 officers is how we bring the cost down to make it affordable, because not enough agents participate in these events. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I figured.
I mean, that's just like the sad reality. Like, if more people participated, we would like be able to host it in like better locations in Utah County and stuff like that. But since that doesn't really happen, this is a pool party. This one's going to be really fun. We're going to rent out the Linden Aquatic Center for like, I think it's like a 3 or 4 hour block. This will probably
use the flow rider.
Yeah.
You don't.
Well,
I'll be in my Speedo using that flow rider.
The flow rider is part of it. Awesome.
Yeah, it's like it's the entire facility. So it's their outdoor.
Love the lazy river there. That's nice.
Yeah, there's slides and everything. Yeah.
So we've done this with iPro almost every year at the pool party at the aquatic center. It's been super successful.
Yeah.
The location is awesome, and we get huge turnouts. It's really worth the money to do that one.
Yeah, and this one will just be the Orem office. This is only an Orem event. We're gonna host another one in northern Utah. But yeah, this is for your clients. Probably August 5th is what I've been like talking to the Linden Aquatic Center about. So yeah, we do get the little wave thing. We get like the kiddie pool area, the lazy river, and then this is like free swim, lap swim, stuff like that. So because this is such a successful event, and the Linden Aquatic Center is kind of expensive. It's $2,400 for a 3-hour rental, and then
The after hours, like 4.
Yeah, so I think it's from 4 to 7. Yeah.
You're gonna send us all these dates.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I think yes. I think August 5th is actually a Saturday. Which I guess it doesn't matter because it's still summertime, kids don't have school yet. But yeah, so this is quoted $200 an agent is quoted for 12 agents, but if more people participate, that number obviously goes down. So I quoted. Sorry, what was that? Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. But we get lenders to bring gift baskets or
yes,
or and title people involved. So it's
so.
Title involvement is super fun because they can do absolutely nothing. I love having them there. Pens and desk calendars, they can hand out thousands of desk calendars.
Yeah. But
Maya, we'd love to help out.
thanks, Tanner. Thank you. But yeah, I quoted $1,000 for like food because we're not sure if we're gonna do like real food or if we're just gonna do ice cream, depending on what time of the day we do the event. But yeah, there's that one. Oh, that's all I have.
So the thing that we also need, just so you know, and the emails have gone out, but if you would like to participate in the activity planning, we would love to have you. That way, Perry, you can have a say in it as far as where we have it, and that your clients are too lazy to drive to Riverton.
I'm gonna try to get some up there.
You'll be amazed. Honestly, you'll be amazed how many people will go for the stupidest reason, right? I mean, you give out a free Costco pumpkin pie and people are flocking, and I'm like, well, you can just go to Costco and get it for $6, but who am I, right? So free stuff always gets people there. You'll be amazed. And honestly, and you'll hear this from me on every event that we do, it's not about how many of your clients actually show up, right? It's actually better that they don't because it brings the cost down, but it's about just reaching out and talking to them, right? That's the important part, having something to talk to them about and show them that you've got some value to add. All right, market stats, we'll go through these fairly quickly, but just so you kind of know where we're at, this is the average interest rate, US interest rate, and so this is not necessarily Kurt Coming's interest rate. I don't know what your actual interest rate is right now, but 11.5, so yeah. So you may not want to use Kurt anytime soon.
Teasing.
Yeah. So this is the average interest rate. You can see it's come down just a little bit. For me, the more important part than whether it's up or down or not is just stability. If we can get some stability in that rate, I think that's going to help buyers. A lot of the buyers and agents that I'm talking to, their buyers are saying, look, I don't know, interest rates are up one day and down the next day, and I don't know what to expect. And so I'm just kind of waiting for things to level out and people to figure out what's actually happening with it. So I think if we can see it level out, that will help us a whole bunch. This is number of home sales in the US. And so you can see 2020, this is pandemic. This is how many homes were sold in the pandemic. And then we went way up, and this is where we are today. Just below actually where we were pandemic, right? Number of homes being sold right now. So quite a few, quite a big difference here. So this is a fun stat. This is December 2022 on your left, and on your right, December 2021. This is the stats from the MLS. Here's the ones that were interesting to me. Price per square foot, really $3 a square foot lower than we were a year ago, right? So we haven't really dropped a whole bunch in price. Median home price, we're $8,000 difference in our median home price right now, right? So clients who are telling you that we've had a huge drop in pricing, it's not a huge drop, right? We're barely under what we were a year ago. And you'll see some more stats that kind of show where we're at. So number of active listings on the MLS, we're right at 7,304. A year ago, this same time, we were at 2,000. So a bunch more listings on the MLS right now. So more inventory for sure. Under contracts, you can see that if you look at trend lines, although they're far apart, we're actually mirroring pretty much what happened seasonality with what we're doing, right? So the number is different, but we're doing pretty much the same kind of business, okay? This is from some fun stats from the MLS again. Number of listings entered into the MLS. Okay, so this is how many listings are actually going into the MLS each month. So December 2020, there were 2,897 listings that got entered into the MLS. In 21, 2,600 got entered in. And this year, surprisingly, we're under both of those, right? We had 2,300. So you would think in this market that sellers would be coming to the market, we would have more listings coming to the market. We actually have fewer listings coming to the market right now, right? A lot of this is because, hey, I've got a 2.1 interest rate and I don't want to move, right? And so they're not selling, and that's the reason that you see the number of entered listings going basically down. Listings sold. So the number of listings sold in December 2020 was 4,400. It went to 4,200 in 2021, and that's because that was everything that was on the market, basically, right? And then today, we've only sold, this last month, we sold 2,500 listings in December. So down significantly, right? The number of listings that we actually sold is down pretty good number. All right, upcoming classes, so that you know, all of our classes move to 11 o'clock. They're always on Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So we've got Zoom meeting, tech class, the first Wednesday of each month. This one will be, like I said, on SkySlope Forums. It will be Zoom. February 8th, CE class here in person. I can't remember who that is. Who's our CE class this month? February, do you remember?
No.
I don't remember who it is, but we'll get it out to you. February 15th is our Forums and Free-for-All Zoom class. And February 22nd will be our next team meeting. Questions, concerns, issues, problems, anything I can help with? Maya's got.
Oh, this is our we just changed around the monthly schedule so that everything is like the same. So that's at the top, and then our events are at the bottom. You can grab one on your way out if you want.
Questions? Good, that means I sufficiently bored you. All right, have a great day, guys. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Jeff.
Have a bagel.